Hi guys, today I have an update for my pan those eyeshadows. So it's been a month and I was working on those 5 shades. I was trying to hit pan on them and I was only able to hit pan on 2 out of the 5 this time. I feel I've been doing so good with the project this year. 2 shades hitting pan kind of record is low for me. So I'm mildly disappointed, but still, if you think about it, 2 shades in a month is not that bad. So anyways, let me show you the 2 shades that I was able to hit pan on. The first one is from Wet n Wild. It's from a little trail. It was a limited edition release. The trail is called Silent Era Film. So I was trying to work on the shade in the middle right here. So you can see I definitely have a decent sized pan now. So I do realize that Wet n Wild shades are generally pretty easy to pan, mainly because their pans are really shallow. So I use it in my crease just as a transition shade. It's just slightly too red to be used that way, so it's a little tricky to use, I have to be honest. I definitely wouldn't want to use any other warm tone shade on my eyelids if I'm already using this, otherwise I can look rather sickly. So I'm glad that one is done now. The other shade I was able to hit pan on, funny enough, is also a really red toned shade. So this one is from Milani and the packaging is really shiny and reflective. So this one is called Pure Passion Palette. It has 12 shades in it. It's a brand new palette for me. So I picked one color out of this configuration, which is right down there. So you can see easily that's the shade I was working on. So this color is called Sunsets by the Beach. So it's just a shimmery kind of reddish toned color. I use it in my outer V, and I definitely do not use it in combination with a red shade here because it would just look really sick. I will use a brown in my crease and some sort of just shimmery beige color on my eyelids, and this one as the outer V. So it turned out okay, and I'm glad I hit pan on that. And I have explained in my previous videos, this year I've been just hitting pan on the outer V shades a little faster in general, mostly because of the brush I was using. It's a e.l.f. angled brush. It's a little bit more scratchier than usual or than other brushes that I own, so it tends to pick up more powder than other brushes would. So I'm happy I went through that shade really, and it's nothing really too special. And honestly, judging based on that one shade, I'm not too super impressed by this palette. I feel that shade could really perform better. It could have had better color payoff. It's just very mediocre. I would not really recommend this palette as a whole. All right, now let's talk about the shades I was not able to hit pan on just yet. The first one is probably the most disappointing for me personally. This is from the Essence palette, and the palette is called Fairy Wings and Magical Things. This palette, or this shade particularly, has been in this project for quite a few months now. I feel from late summer to now, so a good 3-4 month-ish time. So I don't know, this pan is just huge. Maybe that's it. So the color is called Off to Fantasyland, which is this shimmery, lightish kind of mint color. I mean, it's nice and I enjoyed it when I used it, but still I'm just getting really tired of it. And if you can tell, that dip is really deep and those pans are humongous. I don't know why I don't have pan yet, because it's really deep, like no joke. So I don't know, I really hope I can hit pan on it next month, because I'm just losing my patience with this one. It's been too long and it's a colorful shade. If it's a brown, sure, I can use it in a unnoticeable way for 4 months, no big deal. But a light blue like this, it's a look that would stand out, and I just don't want to wear the same look for 4 months. You know, so it's just a little too much. The next one here is from my Urban Decay Lightbeam eyeshadow palette. So this one is a little 5-pan configuration, and I worked on one shade from this palette before and I hit pan on it, expanded that pan actually. So that's the one I worked on before, and you can see that pan is huge now. But this time around I'm working on this shade, which is in the color Vibe. It's just a little bit deeper than mid-tone brown, I feel, but it's a matte shade. I use it in my crease, it's no problem. So I've been working on it, and I think it's probably gonna take me another month or 2 to be able to hit pan on it. quite honestly, because I knew this guy took me a little while, so I'm expecting this one to take me a little longer. But like I said, because it's such a boring brown, I just toss it in my crease. It doesn't really stand out in my look. I can use it for a long time and not get bored with it. I will continue to work on this one. The last shade I was working on is from Marc Jacobs. This is the Style Icon number 7 palette, and the shade name of this palette is called the Night Owl. It's a really beautiful kind of fall to winterish themed palette, I feel. So this is what it looks like. It's gorgeous. And the color I was working on is this shimmery green. So I have to be honest, I didn't use this until maybe 3 weeks into the project. So I certainly don't expect myself to have much progress on it because I was working on the Milani palette, the reddish kind of color as my outer V. Once that one has pan, I started working on this one. So it hasn't been long. I've been enjoying it. This is what I have on my list today. You can see it's just a little bit of green. It doesn't stand out a whole bunch, so you know, I think it worked fine for me. I will continue to work on it and hopefully I can hit pan on it soon. But generally, Marc Jacobs shades takes me about 2 months. So I think it's gonna at least take me 1 more month to hit pan on it. So because I only hit pan on 2 shades this time, that means I'm gonna draw 2 more shades in. And because there are only 2 shades, I just got lazy. I really didn't want to go downstairs, fetch them and come back up and film again. So I randomized the shades before I started filming. So I've already had them picked out. So I just brought everything upstairs all at once. Totally being lazy here. So the 2 shades that popped on my randomizer, one of them is actually jokes on me now. This is again from my Essence palette, the same Fairy Wings and Magical Things palette. Right after I complained how those shades are huge and they take forever to pan, and there you go, I picked another shade out of here. So the shade that got picked this time is called Wizard's World, which is this really light shimmery lavender shade up here. I feel, I don't know, let's swatch it all together and see how the color payoff works, because if the color payoff isn't all that significant, I could probably just toss it all over my lids all the time and just use it as a good old normal like shimmery all over the lid shade. Hopefully that would take me like panning it a little faster, but I don't know. That's the first shade here. The second shade is from my ColourPop Yes Please palette again. I worked on one shade in this palette about 2 months ago. I think last update I had it. But this is what my palette looks like right now. I do have 3 pans and I'm hoping I can just continue to work on it. And this time the shade got picked was Spoiled, which is this guy. It's a little deeper kind of a matte reddish brownish color. And to be honest, I'm going through a reddish brown tone shades fatigue right now. It could be possible that I panned 2 similar colors last month. When I saw that I drew another shade from Yes Please and it's red toned, I was just like dreading it, you know? So I don't know, I might not work on this at first. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe after a week or 2, I would get out of that funk. I would feel like using it and I would start using it. So I might not touch it just right at the beginning. All right, now I have all 5 shades swatched out here. I'm looking at it. It's really colorful. Ugh, I'm a little scared, honestly. And I probably would slow down just because I don't see myself having a look that would incorporate all 5 of them. So if I could only work on like 1 or 2 shades at a time, the progress would significantly slow down for sure. But let me show you all the 5 shades. So on the bottom here, this is the lightest, and this is from the Essence palette right here, the new shades that I just picked. It's a very shimmery light lavender color, so that could be actually easy to use. And next right here is also from the same palette, the shades that I was panning on like forever. So right here, I think those 2 are very springy. They could pair together really nicely, but just too springy. And next we have the shade Vibe from the Urban Decay Lightbeam palette right here. So I use that in my crease. It shouldn't cause me any trouble. And then the next one, oh my goodness, it's from the Yes Please palette, the color Spoiled. It's so red. I do not look forward to that. This guy will sit out for a little bit for sure. Because if you don't have that red, you know, it's a little bit more muted. I think that one really changed the tone of the palette. So we'll see how that plays. And lastly, we have the shade from Marc Jacobs, the Night Owl palette, this shimmery green. It's really beautiful. So there you go. I'm sure I will have a harder time to figure this out, but you know, challenge accepted. I really appreciated this project this year because it really taught me different ways to use color a little bit. And I think this would be a good practice run for me to really use color because, you know, like what I have right now, just that little bit of green, it doesn't really stand out all that much. It kind of is still a subtle way, but I think this color palette would really have me think. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully next time I can hit panel a couple more shades. I do realize those are a little harder to work on now, so I probably will slow down a little bit next month too. So we'll see how that goes, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video so far, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.